Hi, this is Joe at Pecan Lane. Today is Thursday, August 24th, I think. And just wanted to do, I'm expecting this is maybe a last video before we get a bit of a harvest. And take a look at nuts here. So, want to go over a couple of things. You see I've got my irrigation on. And you can see that the bulk of this grass is nice and green. And I'm gonna kind of pan over here. So this is what the grass will look like when you don't have irrigation on it. So this is at the limits of my irrigation. And so a lot of our eastern North Carolina is getting pretty darn dry. So this tree here is a Pawnee. I'd just take one of these off. And let's just see what happens when we cut into that. So first thing I notice is that it's getting kind of hard, so we've got some shell hardening going on. Next thing we note is that this is a nut that is filling out nicely. That will be a nice nut. I did pick up a Pawnee off the ground today and cut into it, and you could see where these nut meat halves were. It wasn't quite as filled out, but I'm expecting that this tree of Pawnee here will end up giving me a nice harvest. That despite a cluster size that is a little bit large. And so here we see we've got a nut that's starting to open. And if we take a peek in there, that color there is a little bit red. So that is not a nut that is going to be worthwhile. And so not sure what the issue is there, but don't bother picking those up. Last year, mid-September, I started having some Pawnee open up. So what I'm considering for these trees here that are kind of near the wood line, this is a fence line here. I get a lot of squirrels come in. I get crows that sit up here. And back here is all woods. And these two Pawnee right here, they were decimated in 2 days. We do have a good number of reject nuts that have fallen on the ground. It's easy to get heartbroken over those, but they're just making way for good nutrition going to the rest of the nuts that are on the tree. And this is another Pawnee, and I think that these nuts actually look a little bit larger, and this tree doesn't quite have as many nuts on it, but it's also got irrigation on pretty much its entire root zone. So this is my driveway, and pretty much right here, parallel to the driveway, I've got an irrigation with emitters that spray 180-degree pattern on this side. And so this tree's got great irrigation, and that tree on the end, I should probably change the emitter and give it more water, but it's looking pretty good. But nice green grass, and good signs for nuts so far. So here you can kind of see a little bit more of the dry patches underneath the trees, but it's green in the middle and kind of brown here. I don't know that I could find it now if I had to, but one of the things I've read is that pecan trees will translocate things like moisture. So good moisture here on the roots will be sufficient for the tree if this is a little bit dry. All right, so this tree here is a Sumner, and well, we'll start by taking a look at a nut that was rejected. Nice and soft going through there, so no shell hardening. And I don't know about anyone else, but that doesn't look like it's a nut to eat. So the tree is just naturally rejecting a non-viable product. And we'll go ahead and we'll take one off. And let's see what we've got here. All right, so this tree is a Sumner, and here we see this is a later tree, and the nuts, they have not totally filled out, so we're still, I think they call it the water fill stage. Moisture is still very, very important for this tree, and it needs some pushing to finish filling out. But the hope and expectation with this is that it'll do well. When this nut naturally falls, I get this near Christmas time. We can come out and pick some out of the trees. But I'll shake these later and have them off by Christmas. So that's a view of Sumner. These trees did well last year. You know, an off-the-cuff estimate, I'm not scientific, is the clusters look good, and I'm happy with them. A little bit puzzled by a little bit of white stuff here. This might be some mites. It feels a little sandy, so I'll probably take a look at an identification guide and see if I need to worry about a miticide on these trees. So definitely have some stuff there, and they're pretty sticky. That might still be with some stuff from last spray. But we see here that the tree is rejecting a fair number of these nuts right now. All right, this one here is a Stuart, and the ground here, it's got some nuts, nothing particularly green. These are probably just nuts that stuck out, stayed on last year. A little bit of scab. Those that didn't hear, that kind of crunched a little bit, like that shell was starting to firm up. And we see here that the Stuart still needs lots and lots of water. But my grass is dry here, and we see we've got good, moist, soft soil, so they're probably getting plenty. We're getting plenty of water here. I'm a lot wet here. I wonder if I've got a broken emitter, and so I should probably come and track out what's going on here. It's been a little bit wet for mowing, getting stuck. Once again, we've got our dry grass. You wouldn't want to start a fire. I almost feel the grass crunching underneath. Here you can see clear examples of the difference between irrigation and not irrigation. This is why a grower that waters his trees can give you better quality nut. Some homeowner yard nuts, squirrel nuts, might not be able to fill out as well. All right, these trees here are, this one is a Kanza. Kanza's a little bit of a smaller nut, but it shells out marvelously, and I'm planting lots of Kanzas. It's an earlier nut. Let's see if I can find somewhere I can. Here we've got just one. I can feel it's got some heft to it, and I'm going to guess that this nut has an appearance more like a Pawnee, being an earlier nut, but it's not. It's not as well filled out, but looks like the others. The shell's starting to harden, and so we'll keep pushing these with some water. So a lot of the groundwork that's been done for early in the year has been done. We've treated with fertilizers and fungicides, given the trees plenty of water. Right now they're heavy consumers. Up to 2 inches a week of rain is required. We've been very, very dry, and we can see here where the rain hasn't gone, the grass is suffering, and so we're hopeful that the nuts that we'll produce will continue filling out and doing well. And we're making preparations to clean up things and get set for cracking and shelling starting November 1. We'll have some interesting things to show customers this year, and then we're gonna get set for taking care of squirrels and crows and blue jays, turning our alarms on, and getting a game plan together. We tend to not talk too much about our pest control problems with the harvest. So that's where we're at Pecan Lane, and I hope you're getting a good nut crop and excited for what you're going to be eating. Thank you for watching.